Hi, my name's Lindy. Welcome to my channel. Hope you're all doing well. I'm going to launch straight in on this 13th of June 2024 winter autumn-like evening, which is supposed to be the summer, but the heating is on and we're all back in sweatshirts and jumpers and things and coats and jackets because it's more like the fall or more like the autumn. So the title of this video is Bubble, it will be along the lines Bubble Love, Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine, something along those lines. The title will come to me in the editing. So let's talk about bubble love. This is something that I have referred to over the years on the YouTube channel, particularly when talking about a heart connection that gets activated during meeting somebody with a vibration that is high enough, close enough, compatible enough to cause that reaction in somebody's energy field. So when I was talking about it in the early days, I was talking about it in relation to twin flames. Then I went on to talk about it in relation to ascensionary soulmates, catalysts, conscious connections, etc. So the bubble love is literally a high frequency period of time when you connect with someone that is a close enough frequency or vibrational match in energy to stimulate your consciousness to an extent that you go into this, I was going to say on a practical level, it can almost be like dreamlike euphoria, but it's chemical, it's hormonal, it's also spiritual, it's your consciousness, you know, it's on every level. And you could say, is it the same as a honeymoon period? They call it the honeymoon period, and people still meet. And of course, people have got all those chemicals going then. And there are very strong similarities. But with this bubble-like period of time, there is huge upgrading in a way, or redefining, integration within one's energy field when this is happening. So there is the raising of the consciousness, there is the, I was going to say again the word redefining, the rebalancing of the masculine and feminine energy within oneself. There is an expansion of one's awareness. Sometimes it kicks off the kundalini energy in somebody, and it is an absolutely blissful, euphoric kind of feeling. Now, in the early days on this YouTube channel, when I used to describe this, I used to talk about it, and Mel Brand of Goldway Twin Flames, who is obviously no longer with us, unfortunately he left the earth plane, but Nicole, from Goldway Twin Flames, is still here around and can be found on that channel. He used to talk about the bubble love, and then I used to talk about the bubble love, and it's a way of describing almost like being in a bubble of this amazing energy where the connection is off the charts, you know, on every level, sexually, it's like being mesmerized. You can gaze at one another, and it literally is like moths to the flame, you know. And when I used to talk about this in the early years, I used to only refer to it through the twin flame aspect of it, because that was my entry point way back in 2010. That was my entry point to a unified state of being. I like to say, that's old saying, all roads lead to Rome, or many roads lead to Rome. That was my road of getting to inner unification. That does not need to be everybody's road, and not everyone will come through that route. There are other ways of awakening and getting into a state of heart that brings one into unification. But that was mine, and it's since then my whole life seems to have been that's the path that I was on, and it's all been relationship based, helping people with theirs, or going through the personal experiences myself. Obviously, I'm experiential, which means it's all hands on. I have learned it and earned it because I've done it personally, so to speak. That's how I understand what everybody else is going through, because I've gone through it myself. And in those early days, I had the perception that it was only sort of limited connections that could really do that. But in fact, now at this point in human evolution, 2024, this so-called bubble love is accessible to all. Let me state that again. It is not just accessible to people that have come through a certain route or are twin flames. This is accessible to all levels of connection. If a connection has that spiritual aspect, and this is nothing to do with belief systems of spirituality, this is to do with vibrational state and frequency. If the frequency and vibrational state is high enough, then this happens in connection. And how do I know this? Because I was going to say but as you know, and I will do a video on walk-ins. I was a walk-in as of November last year. So the original Lindy fractal left the earth plane, and I, as another Lindy fractal, the same soul, came in and took over in this body vehicle. How do I know this? Because the other Lindy, in the course of a huge body of work and a huge act of service, largely unknown about on this channel, largely unspoken about, connected with 103 males. I'm not saying dated 103 males or met 103 males. I'm saying connected with, which is a huge body of work in the end. And out of the 103, probably 85 to 90, there was bubble love experience. You can imagine what a toll that took on her, stroke me, to experience that and not be with those individuals. So I am confident in what I'm saying here as someone who has gone through a so-called bubble love experience 85 to 90 times now. Some of those able to hold a certain frequency with me, some absolute soul connections, some absolute spiritual connections, some catalysts, some karmic, some none of the above, just needed that energy activated. So I do, if I recall rightly, I'm going to refer to Mel Brand, God rest his soul, up there, and go away twin flames again. And I'm also going to reference myself in saying that many years back, we both predicted that that would go into the mass population. And I can absolutely validate that this is what has happened. And that is a byproduct of people connecting at a certain level of consciousness where this gets activated in the field. And it doesn't mean to say they're your soulmate, your twin flame, or any of those things. It happens when the frequency is high enough, but of course it can mean that they're those things, but it's going over to the mass population now. It's more commonplace the higher your frequency and vibration is. So it happens to me constantly. That has been both an amazing thing and an absolute burden because I connect on that level with pretty much most people, particularly males. So it is an amazing thing, and it is part of that awakening that you connect on such a level that the energy field, that the chakras start to fire up in a different way. Again, I said years ago, and I credit again Gold Waiter in Flames with saying the same, that there were 12 chakras firing up, not the 7 or 8 that we hear about, 12. And I've actually been able to see a 15 to 24 semi-dormant chakra system for a number of years now. It's my prediction that humans won't run more than 15 for a very long time yet. Certainly well outside of my lifespan. But the 12 chakra system is online, and some aren't aware of it, some aren't knowing it's fired up, and people are at all different stages of that. But this is all part and parcel of a similar kind of thing. So as the field is getting switched on, and we connect with people on much higher levels. And you know, I have a saying which is a bit of a naughty one, but it does make me laugh. I've been saying this for ages now, but it's connection. If it's the Kundalini energy, but if it's also, because everything gets fired up, you know, your sexual energy, your consciousness, your mind, your heart, everything. And I always remind people it's connection and erection, not just erection. Because people tend to sort of go, whoa, wow, you know, the sexual energy's off the charts, and forget the rest of the picture, so to speak. So this bubble love, bliss-like euphoria, you will ask me how long it can last. It's very much along the lines of what myself and again Gold Waiter in Flames were saying in the earlier years. It seems to be the bulk standard. I can attest to, having been through it, you know, nearly 100 times, not far off. Again, not with people I've ended up with romantically, although some have wanted to, but it has often been for purposes of the templating and firing it up. So work, basically, I can class that as work, really, as awful a toll as it took as me as a person, you know, a little bit heartbreaking, really, to say the least, for the other one, the other Lindy. I can say that that process is absolutely sped up on Earth. It's happening way more now. Any of you that are quite conscious in your heart and quite aware along your journey of ascending in your own consciousness will experience this probably more and more, and you will have quite deep, profound connections with people. Why? Because it's human evolution, baby. It's evolution, baby. That's what's supposed to happen. That's supposed to happen. We're supposed to be able to connect with people more consciously, connecting consciously. We're supposed to be able to connect from the heart. We're supposed to have the whole keyboard on, not just from the waist down of it or just from here up of it. We're supposed to have the whole symphony playing, not chopsticks, ding, 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 ding. So, yes, it's very exciting, and it is now a bulk standard phenomena that is taking place in the mass population. Yes, of course, it's more commonplace for me. Why? Because I've been on this journey for nearly 25 years. I've been on a self-awakening journey nearly 30 years, but actually sharing with the public, I guess, in terms of work and everything else, 24 years. Yes, it will become commonplace, and for me it is because of the role I have, I guess, because I've been working in this, specializing this. Obviously it's going to be more commonplace, but it's tipping over to everybody, so people will feel this. I mean, the flip side of it is the same as it was for Twin Flames. When the bubble bursts, the frequency dips, that's when any unresolved stuff, that's the unconscious, becomes conscious. The triggering happens in the mass population, no matter what the connection. Is it as extreme as it was? No, because we're like in a relay race, and the other three people in the relay race, there's a relay race of four, the other three have run it. Now we've got the baton and we're running for it. So the later waves and the later steps of human evolution in relationship mean that they've not got the big dramatic pitfalls that the earlier ones that ran the relay race did. Why? Because humans were much less conscious then at the beginning of the relay race, but they're becoming much more conscious now. So in that sense, it's a little bit easier and not quite so extreme, because human relationships, human relations, humans per se have become more conscious. And again, I could go on and on and on about this and make this 15-minute video a 30, 40, 51, but again, these are just snippets that I'm going to keep rolling in like bowling balls. If people want me to focus on a particular subject, just email me, lindy@raisingreality.com. If there's enough demand for a certain video, I'll put that one out. Otherwise, I'll just keep rolling these curveballs in as I feel inspired to do so. I could have come up here and spoke on 50 different things tonight, but I decided that was the way to go tonight, because of my personal experiences with it and how amazing it is. You could say then, what happens with people when the bubble kind of frequency drops a bit? They readjust and rebalance, really, and if there's much triggering, they work through it, because it's not so polarized. It's much faster now. Where it was taking months or years, it's much quicker for the general mass population in terms of connection. So it might take them weeks, it might take them a few months or longer. They readjust, they rebalance. Do they go out of each other's lives while this is happening? No, not always. It's not all the same as twin flames where they just separated. In these later states of human evolution, they may just go away for a bit, a few days, a few weeks. There may be a readjustment period, then they're around each other, or they may not go away from each other at all. They may just keep like this, like a wave, dip a little bit, go up a bit, dip a little bit, go up a bit. So yeah, all good stuff. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you. Take care. See you soon. And yeah, hope you're behaving yourselves.